Hi everyone. My name is Valen. I'm your host for today. Our speaker will be Miss Puteri, our speaker for today. Um, First, I want to introduce her. She is a civil engineering graduate who specializes in infrastructure, which is also for her thesis that she came up with a new shape for fabric roof. And she has experience working in consultant firm and in the government sector, so she's very experienced in this field. Um, First of all, thank you, Ms. Putri, for volunteering to speak for us. Okay, um, shall we start?
Hi, thank you, Valin. Hi everyone. My name is Put. Um, just like Valin said, I'm a civil engineer graduate, and I'm here to give a talk regarding civil engineer and help you guys understand better what this major is all about, and I'll maybe relate it to architecture and architectural engineering a little bit to help you understand better, like what's the difference between the three courses. Let me share my screen. Is the screen up already? Can you guys see the screen? No? Really? Mm, mm, Now, can you see the PowerPoint? Because I can read the comment. So okay. Okay, thank you very. So first up, I'll be talking about the major civil engineering itself, but I'll relate a little bit on architecture and architectural engineering as we go. So, so what is civil engineering? So, um, the basics of engineering, you can see it in mechanical, electrical. The basics are you plan, you design, and then we'll make it work. That's the concept of engineering. But in civil, you plan, you design how your buildings is gonna look, and then you construct the building. After constructing the building, so you just maintain and operate it. The buildings could be infrastructures or structures. So the two difference for these are the structures are the one that you could see on top of the, usually we call it on top of the ground, like skyscrapers, apartments, but infrastructures are the accessories that comes with the structures like road, drainage, and all of this stuff. So civil engineers usually work on variety different projects. We go from roads to buildings to airports, bridges, and anything you could think of. And so the civil engineers usually take the leadership role in the construction, and they'll usually the civil engineer will usually lead the construction team, which will be consist of the architects, other engineers like mechanical, electrical, and sometimes there will be also specialists like train. If we need to build a train station, so we'll have specialists from other departments. So next. So just like I said just now, we don't just specialize in one thing. If you study civil engineers, you could also be specialized as forensics. Like forensics, you're a civil engineer, but you specialize in. So if there's collapse of buildings like skyscrapers or apartments, and you'll be called onto the scene to find out why the building collapsed, who to put the blame on, and kind of be your own CSI. Next one, you could also, if you study civil engineers, you can also study regarding highway, like the traffic light study, road designs, pavement studies, and how everything actually works. What color does the road should be? Because now we're onto green technology to reduce the impact onto the environment. So there's a lot of news in the civil engineers itself. Next one. You could also study regarding dam, reservoir, pipeline, and anything water related, even sewerage. So if you're interested in water or even sewerage, do tech civil engineer. In next one, we also study regarding bridges, slopes, geography, earthwork related, how you need to make sure that the hills doesn't collapse when you want to build roads area. And lastly, you could also study law. You're a civil engineer, but you specializes in law. So if there is just like the forensics, when we need to find someone to blame, and then call onto the civil engineer that specializes in law to take the cases and help to find who to blame. So if you're into law, but also want to do civil engineer, do if you wanted to do engineering but also want to do law, go with civil engineer. And a little bit on what you will be learning throughout the course. Yes. Really? Mm. Is it changing now? Is it moving? Still not yet. Changing? No? Yes? No? Still no? No, no, it's okay. Just finish. Is it changing? Uh, Wow, yeah. Can you see the PowerPoint now? So you're on the forensic page, right? Or is it not? Second. So what do you see on the screen now? Okay. Can you see the forensic slide? Wait, yeah. Okay. Maybe it's a little bit slow. So, sorry. I didn't know that you guys can see the screen. So the forensic, so if you study engineer, you also study the forensic, the highway, the dams, reservoir, pipeline, and anything water related, and even sewerage, bridges, some slopes, earth related, geography, how we make sure that the hills doesn't collapse. When we want to build road inside the hills itself. And then we also study a little bit regarding law. And what you will be learning throughout the course are mainly designing and detailing of the structures. You will also learn drawings because on site, sometimes they want to, like small firms, they doesn't want to hire a lot of people. So they expect you to know how to do the architect works, designing, using AutoCAD, drawing, but the title for you, your position in the company is still an engineer. So they expect you to have a lot of skills, but paying you for only the salary of engineer. So you will also learn a little bit regarding electricity and mechanical systems, some water related calculations and treatments, what sizes of pipe you will be using, what materials you will be using, and for sure you will be entering the lab for experiments regarding the materials, the water, road, and sometimes you'll play around with soils. And just like other engineering, we study on a lot of physics, calculus, and statistics. So we engineers always says this, that an architect's dream is an engineer's nightmare, because architecture, the architecture students or architects, their soul are full of art. So they wanted to build something that an engineers feel like it's quite impossible. So when an architect come up with a design, we as engineers will have to find a way to make sure that what these architects wanted, we could build this, whatever design they want. And usually these are what our jokes will consist of. The architects will come up with the concept sketch, and when we meet with the client, we'll cut off everything and see. So we as engineers could build what the architects want. And after working with the drawings, what the architects will get is just boxes. And this is so true. When a building like a skyscraper or something, some buildings or skyscraper that is so beautiful, people will always ask the architect, not like who built it. So the architect will always get the name, but once the building collapses, they'll always ask, what's the engineer who designed it? So kind of me, but it's fine though. And lastly, a little bit of story regarding Tacoma Bridge collapse, which I think you might have seen this video on the internet, that the bridge is waving and moving around like jelly. So a little story regarding the collapse was that it happens in 1940. It was because the bridge cannot withstand the weight of the cars, and the engineers doesn't design withstand the wind loading. And yes, wind has load, so it causes the bridge to collapse and starting to act like jelly. And it collapsed only after 4 months. So yeah, a little mistake will cost a lot of life. Yeah, I know you're like, it's fine now that you doesn't know what to study or what to do, and you're here looking around on what your passion might be. And whatever you do right now, whatever you choose to study, just go. Just go for it. Just don't hold yourself back. That's it. Thank you. How is the volume of assessment in the major? Volume assessment, like how much the physical, the hands-on and the tests on paper, you mean? Oh, like us, it will be 60% for tests and 40% for your technical. So even if you go into lab and done experiments, you will also be tested on that. So when you do experiment, though it's a group project, make sure that you involve in that group project. You make sure that you know what you need to do, though when conducting the experiment, somebody else is doing that. Make sure you know what is happening, because on the test, on the practical test, you'll be tested alone from finishing to the end of the experiment. Is there a specific or basic math in common knowledge? Just basic math, because once you get into the major, start with basic math from what you learn in high school, and then slowly and gradually there will be the maths will be harder, from mathematics to calculus and calculus for engineers. So it won't be that hard, because they'll teach you basic first and then more specialized later on. But if you have any like technical skills on the drawing, then that's a plus for you. Anything more? Verlin, I think that's it. Okay. For civil engineer, only studying math and physics, or we study? Yes, we do study chemistry too. Because later on, when you study regarding water, and treatments, what treatments for water we'll need to do, we'll be using a lot of chemicals, and yeah, they will teach basic chemistry, because later on for the study regarding treatment of water, water treatment, or what sewerage treatment, you'll be using a lot of chemicals in the lab. Do you do hands-on projects like making or building miniature? Yes, we do. But not a lot, because like me, we don't actually build miniatures, only for competitions. Yes. We usually do, we play with concretes. We don't play miniatures like architects do. And we also play a lot with soils, clays, but we don't build miniatures. Um, we do testing on concrete, making shapes out of it, and testing the strength for the materials. Oh, you're welcome. Adinda Bangka. Oh, do you hands-on project? Yes. We do a lot of like conventions. So if you have any like new, what do we call it? Innovations on how to improve the road or a wall, then you maybe participate in a lot of innovations. And I don't know if you have heard about precast concrete, where the walls and the roof are all built like Legos. So we just bring everything to the site and assemble like literally Lego. So if you want to like check that out, it's called precast concrete. Thank you, Eileen.